Adam from Alchemy Systems. Thank you for joining today's webinar for Microsoft Teams. I've given it a minute or so just for a couple of people to join in at the end, but I think we're all ready to go. So just to kick things off, the people involved with today's webinar are myself, Adam Warner. I'm third line technical support at Alchemy Systems. I've been in IT now for nearing on 20 years, probably about 18 years. And the other contact is Ryan Gregory, who, if you've got any questions regarding sales, pricing, etc., please contact him via the email address on the screen. But without any further ado, let's crack on. So firstly, what is Skype for Business? Or rather than Skype for Business, what is Microsoft Teams? Microsoft Teams is a Skype for Business replacement. At the moment, Microsoft have been using Skype for Business as their instant messaging, video, voice conferencing solution. They're in the process at the moment of phasing this out. They're doing that gradually, surely. But Teams is the replacement. Trade it out, and you've got all the functionality there. It provides permanent chat, so as you're going along, any messages that are put in are saved forevermore. So if anybody ever joins a team, leaves a team, they can quickly catch up with what's been going on. It gives you the opportunity to do real-time collaboration on documents, so you can edit things at the same time as your colleagues. It provides a customizable workspace, so groups and teams of people can have the documents that they need on hand at all times. We'll drill into this more as I go into the demos a bit later on. And finally, it gives sharing and guest access. So you can create a team, have some documents in it, and share it with a third-party customer, client, somebody that you're collaborating with. Give them access to the documents, and they don't need a license. So to drill down into the Skype for Business replacement, everybody can send instant messages, make voice calls, video conferencing, as well as share their screens. If you want to do any presentations, things like that, you can hop right in and just share your screen with somebody, share an application with somebody, and work together that way. So if you are presenting something or preparing a presentation, you can all just focus in, make any little changes you need, and go from there. But in terms of the Skype replacement functionality, I think at this stage we all kind of know what Skype does. It's for sending messages, voice and video calls, and Teams involves all of the features that used to be in Skype. The permanent chat, again, we'll drill into this with the demos a bit more. But the idea here is that rather than email people backwards and forwards and have a conversation with replies, and then somebody else might reply and it all branches off, you have a long list of chats which is threaded, much like a Facebook or another social media post, where somebody will post something at the top. It could be a document, it could be a question, it could be anything, and then replies will be threaded underneath that. So it's all nicely grouped and tucked together. It's easy to follow. They're very straightforward, broken down into channels. Again, I'll get into that a little bit later. If you've been out of the office, you'll have notifications to show you if you've been mentioned anywhere, and you can just read through and catch up, reply to anything if you need to. You can insert any sort of content you want to, so whether it be videos, documents, anything that you're working on as a group, it can all be popped in there for easy sharing. And the channels allow you to break things down by topic. So typically we'd have things like, say, the finance team. Anybody in the finance team can have access to the documents that are in there. And then if you're, say, working on a report, everybody's got all of the report details in front of them ready to go. The teams themselves can be customized. We can create a team for whatever purposes you need. It doesn't need to be a logical unit in the business, but things like that definitely break down easy. They could be things like social groups, whatever you'll need. you can just easily create a team yourself as a user and then invite the people in that you need. And again, you can add in channels there just to break things down even further than that. If you've got any documents that the group are working on, you can pin them to the top. Again, I'll cover this in the demos a little bit later on. But it's all about kind of adding things that the group is going to need, easy access, and away you go. You can also add in apps, add-ons. Microsoft are constantly adding extra things in for third-party applications. Say there's a Twitter application, so anybody that tweets your business, you can have the tweet appear in there and people can reply to it. So you can use it as a customer services desktop as well. And then also you can add in external content. So if you've got any documents that are stored in, say, Google Drive or things like that, they can all be surfaced through Teams as well. As part of Office 365, it gives you the ability to collaborate in real time on documents with other users. So if you want to, say, work on a Word document together, you both open it up at the same time in Teams or in a modern version of Office, and you can both be editing it at the same time without the file being locked like it would be historically. These are some features that are currently integrated into SharePoint, and basically Teams is a front end for SharePoint. Teams is a front end for Office 365 in general. So anything that's in Office 365, Teams is kind of the easy way of getting users access to everything and displaying just what they need so they don't get overwhelmed. The documents can be opened from anywhere as well. So as long as you've got a web browser, you can open it up, log into Teams, and access any of the files. There are also mobile clients. So if you've got an iPhone, iPad, Android, etc., there's a Teams app. You can download that, log in, and access anything that you can do through the web on Teams as well. If you are opening documents, as I said, you can open them up in Teams for nice, quick, easy editing, or you can open them up in the full fat, say, Microsoft Excel, Microsoft Word, and work with them in the same way. So if you're doing something that's a bit more advanced and you can't do it in the Teams web app, you can definitely do it in Excel, Word, etc. as normal. One thing that is quite key with Teams and SharePoint in general is that you can share documents externally. So rather than historically where you would create a document and email it out to somebody, where they then have their own version, you've made a duplicate, they can do what they want with it. With Teams and SharePoint, the general idea is that you create the document, you share it out with a link. That way you retain full control over the document. Any changes that you make, the recipient can then see in real time as they happen. So if you create, say, like a terms and conditions document and have a little link to it that you send out to people, if you update the terms and conditions, the next time they click on the link, they will see that. You don't have to send out another copy of the document. So Teams itself fits into Office 365 alongside things like Outlook. And the positioning for Teams is generally scoped towards a smaller audience. So it's, again, based around teams or groups within the company. So you might have, say, the finance department that need to collaborate on something. It's geared towards an informal tone. So whereas with Outlook and sending emails, they tend to be a bit formal and tend to be a bit more like old-fashioned letters. With Teams, you're intended to use it like you would, say, a WhatsApp or another instant messenger. So it's very easy just to kind of write out what you want, hit send, people can reply, which links into the next bit, which is that it's designed for high tempo. What I mean by that is, historically, again with Outlook, if you send somebody an email, you don't expect a reply shortly. you send it out to them, they'll reply when they can. The idea with Teams is that everything is instantly respondable by people. So if you have a question, you can ask somebody and get a quick reply. So I'm going to go through a couple of demonstrations now so you can see what Teams actually looks like, because I know up to this point it's all a bit nebulous. So to do that, I am just going to open up a couple of demos that I have here. Let me just log back in, 2 seconds. And we'll bring this across. So you should now see a Teams page. I'm logged in as a user called Christy at the moment, and I have another one on my other screen for the minute, but we'll get to that in a second. On the left-hand side here, you've got a little bell icon for activity that will show you any times you've been mentioned or any messages that have been sent to you. You've got chat, which is basically the Skype portion, so you can send people instant messages, they can reply to you. You can do voice and video calls at the top here, and you can add in any other people as well. So if you want to have 3, 4, 5, I think up to something like 250 people in a chat, you can add them all in there and chat away. If you want to share any files, you've got a little files tab here you can click, just drag and drop a file to share it with them. They'll then be able to access it as well. If you want to start a new chat, you've just got a little new chat button. You click that, you just type in the person's name you want to chat to, send a message, hit send, and away you go. Down the bottom here, you've also got some added formatting bits and pieces, so you can add styles to the text. You can also mark it as important, so it gets a nice little red banner above it to make people know that you mean business. You can attach files, smileys, GIFs, and other bits and pieces across the bottom here if you want to. In the actual Teams section itself, we'll drill into this now because it's poignant. So you've got the actual teams, which are these headings here. So Christy, who I'm logged in as, is part of the sales team, and so she can see the sales team. You'll only ever see teams that you're part of or that you've created. And then underneath the teams themselves, you have these channels. So these are the topics that you're discussing within the team. So if I just go up to this product launch team, you can see it's about a product called the X1050, which sounds very technical. And underneath there, they've got, say, planning for their launch event. They've got chat in there. They've got plans. They've got a PowerPoint deck and other things pinned to the top here. So if you want to, anybody in the team can go and come in here, view the PowerPoint deck, and then at the top here, you've got an edit button. And if I click edit here, it will open it up in Teams and you can edit it. Or from the little drop down here, you can open up in the full PowerPoint version. And then in addition to that, you can go up to the top and add tabs. This allows you to add in anything really in Office 365. If you want to add in a forms document, if you want to add in a plan, you can do it here. And also you've got all these other third-party add-ins. A lot of them are free, but there are ones that have premium versions as well. So say if you want to add in SurveyMonkey to send out some surveys to clients, you can click in there, add it as a tab at the top, and then any replies will come in there and everybody can see them. If I want to create a new team for a new product, for example, if I go down to join or create team here at the bottom, and then do create team, we want to start a new team from scratch. When you do so, you'll be asked if it's public or private. And what this means is if it's public, anybody in the organization can add themselves to the team. If it's private, it's via invite only. So only the creator of the team or anybody else that you specify as an admin of the team can add guests or users into the team. But as I say, if it's a public one, anybody can just join as they wish. So it could be that this is for a social event or something like that, and people can just add themselves in. So we'll just create a team called Project Alpha. You can add in a description, click Create, and then it will go away in the background and start creating it. If we've got any other users that we want to add in as team members, we can do so. So I am going to add in Diego, who's the HR manager. Click Add. And you can specify here whether he is a member, as in just has normal access, or whether they're an owner, so they could make changes to the team. But I'll just add Diego as a member for the minute, and then click Close. So now at the bottom we have a new team called Project Alpha with a general terminal in the bottom, which is the default. If you want to make any changes, we can click on the little 3 dots button here, and we can manage the team. So we can add in more members here, change people's role within the group. We've got a button for channels. So in addition to the general channel, we can add in one called adverts. And this button here for automatically favorite is basically you can have some teams that, some channels rather, sorry, that appear for everybody, or you can just have it so people can find them and favorite them themselves, but they don't necessarily need to show up for everyone. I'll just go back into the Manage Team section here. In the settings, you can change the team picture. So that's this little icon here. You can manage the permissions of each group type. So members can add, remove apps, etc., etc. Guest permissions, if you're adding in somebody externally that you're collaborating with, whether it be a third-party company that you're operating with, you can set permissions about whether they can create channels and delete channels. At mentions, which I'll get to in a moment, is basically trying to get somebody's attention, but we'll go into that in a sec. And then the Teams code is if you want to create a direct link for people. And fun stuff, if you want to turn off things like GIFs or memes, stickers, etc., you can untick them here if you want it to keep a bit more serious. When you are working with the team, if you want to, you can leave the team. If you're the only owner, it will ask you to delete it. If you do delete the team here, it will give you a prompt just to confirm that you definitely want to delete it, because it will remove any channels, chat, etc. that are in there at the moment. Let's just go ahead and do that. So now that one's gone. So just drilling back into the actual Teams chat itself here, if I go back into the launch event here, and I will bring across another window here. So this internet browser that I'm using here is for Christy. And I'm just going to bring another one across here for Diego, who's another employee. So this is really simulating having 2 people using Teams on separate computers, but I'll show them together just to make it a bit more straightforward. So in the Teams, if I go into launch event on both of them, for example, and then I can type away in the launch event and say, hello everyone. Let's just wait for that to catch up. So you can see Christie's chat message has come up there, and Diego can just click reply and say hi underneath it, send, and it will come out here. You can see you'll get little pop-ups when somebody's replied to you. If you want to specifically mention somebody, you can do so by doing an at mentions. You do at, say, Christy. And then in addition to the actual pop-up, they'll also get themselves highlighted in red with a little @ symbol to show you've been mentioned. And I don't know if you saw briefly, but it popped up at the top there in the activity bell section just to show that a direct message has been sent. But if you were to be offline at the time, all those activities would be queued up, ready to go. So we've chatted a little bit backwards and forwards there. If you want to edit anything, you can just go into edit here and edit your message that you've sent. So I can just correct that and put hello. And you can see if this box gets out of the way. There it goes. That it's edited there. So you can edit anything as you go along if need be. And you can also hit like just to give everybody a thumbs up on the comment there. If we go in and look at the files, these are files that have been uploaded and shared with the team. So we can see we've got a vendors list in here. If I just open this up. So by default, everything in Teams opens up in read-only mode. And if you want to edit it, you just click edit at the top there. And at the same time, same thing for Diego. And you can see on Christie's side here, it's opened up in Excel Online, which is the kind of basic web version of Excel. You can see now it just popped up saying that the document's also being edited by somebody else. And as you can see, if I just click here and type hi, hit return, it updates in real time on the other person's screen, and you can see where other people are typing. If you want to edit the name of the document, you can just click at the top here, but you'll need to be the only person working on the document at the time to do that. When you're done, there isn't a save button because it automatically updates and saves as you're going along. But all you need to do is just come out of the document, and that's it. It's very similar functionality for Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. So if you want to update a document together or work on different sections, you can do that. You could have somebody working on, say, the intro and somebody working further down the page. Generally, it'll update on the other person's screen whenever you pause for a couple of seconds. So if you're typing away, as soon as you finish a sentence or a paragraph and pause, it will appear on the other person's screen. It's generally quite good at interpreting spacing and bits and pieces like that. So if you're working close together, that's not a problem. You might have some problems if you're working on the same sentence at the same time, and you'll end up with some conflicts there. But generally, if you're working on different blocks of the document, that's not a problem. With Excel, it works on a cell-by-cell basis. So as soon as you hit return on one cell, the updated information will be sent across to the other computer there. So in terms of customizing the workspace, we've seen already that you can add in documents. The general gist here is that you should, let me just come back out of here and I'll move this one off so we've got a bit more space. So we're working on a launch event. We can pin anything, so we've got an event plan here. Anything that the team might need to get their work done, you can pin to the top for quick and easy access. So rather than have people hunt around for the documents that are poignant to the launch event, you can have everything there ready to go, and people can just edit it as needed. If you haven't seen this, this is Microsoft Planner, which is a bit off scope for this, but it's a bit of a light project planning tool. So if you've got tasks that need completing, you can basically create tasks and tick them off, assign them out to people, bits and pieces like that. If you want to upload a document, If you just go up to the Files tab here at the top, you've got an Upload button. If you click that, it'll open up a file browser, and you can just drag and drop stuff in. Either click it, drag the file onto the window, and it'll upload it, and everybody can work from it from there. If you want to pin a document to the top here, you can click the 3 dots to the right hand side and just do make this a tab, and it'll add it as a tab at the top there. As discussed earlier, you can just click the little plus button, and it'll allow you to add in bits and pieces. So if you've got, say, a website or anything like that, you can add it from there. Further down the left-hand side here, you've got a meeting section. So at the moment, Christy doesn't have any meetings, but if we go and schedule a meeting, very similar to Outlook, you just put in a title, location, times, people that you want to invite, and some general text at the bottom there, and then schedule it. And that will be just like any other calendar invite. People will get an invitation which they can accept, and when the time comes, you'll get a little pop-up notification to say that the meeting started and people can join. With the meetings, you can do voice and video calls. You can also present your screen, present particular applications. If you want to, you can also get an add-on for recording the videos, but we'll discuss that in a moment. As well as scheduling meetings, if you want to have an ad hoc meeting in the team, if we go into the conversations list here, as well as typing away at the bottom, you also have this Meet Now button, which will automatically start a video call, and anybody that's looking at the team at the time will get a little pop-up to say we're starting a meeting, and anybody can just join it from there. So just to bring up my PowerPoint slide again. So we've run through quickly the chat documents tabs. We've gone through meeting teams, guest access, which I should probably drill into a little bit more. If you have a team that you are sharing with externally, the person that you're sharing with has full access to anything in that team, so they can edit documents just like you can. They don't need a license to do this, so they're basically piggybacking on your license to edit documents and bits and pieces like that. Pinned apps and documents we've covered. Cloud storage, as I mentioned earlier on, the list of files that we were looking at a moment ago, you can also add in any third-party things like Google Drive or Box or anything else like that. So if you've got some files out and about, you can add them and pin them in there, and they surface in exactly the same way. And we can collaborate and present. As Teams is part of Office 365, it's constantly evolving. So there's new features being added continually. A couple of ones that have recently been added or are in the process of being added is Shifts, which is designed for businesses like restaurants, where you've got many employees who have rotas, and Shifts basically lets you set out blocks, assign people to those particular blocks, and then the staff can also swap blocks with each other and chat away and stuff like that. So if they want to swap a shift with somebody, they can do it there. Praise is something that's being added at the moment, but it's basically giving your colleagues a pat on the back, which can then be reported out at the end of the month. So if you want to do like an employee of the month system, you can get people to vote for people that have done well. Custom backgrounds and blurring in video calls. If you're, say, working from home or working in an office, you can get it to automatically blur out the background behind you, which is live at the moment, and they're currently adding in a system where you can replace the background behind you. So if you wanted to have a business logo or just a plain backdrop behind you, you can do that as you go along. And then finally, it's rolling out at the moment is live captions for video calls. So if you are having say a monthly meeting, you can automatically get it to transcribe the chat, and it will come up in a little caption subtitle box at the bottom. So we've had a quick look through Teams. So we'll just drill in how you can actually get hold of it. There is a free version, which is only available to people that don't have Office 365 subscriptions at the moment, but that just gives you basic access to the chat, a little bit of storage. If you've already got an Office 365 subscription, the chances are you already have Teams available to you. And basically, as you go up the Office 365 subscriptions, the features add to each other. So if you've got you can access, say, 1 terabyte of storage per user and 1 terabyte of shared storage plus another 10 gig for each user that you have. You have the opportunity with the Streams add-on, if you have it, to, oops, I've just gone back, to record a meeting and then share it later on. So you can have it available in Stream, which is Microsoft's internal version of YouTube. So if you want to do any training documents or anything like that, you can record them in Stream and have them available. Moving up to the Office 365 Premium, you get everything that you have in Essentials, but you also get all the desktop apps. So you can have, say, Word, Excel, etc. And there is also an audio conferencing feature, which lets you use Teams as your standalone telephone system. So you can make internal and external calls in and out using just Teams. You don't need a separate phone system. That does require an add-on and a separate subscription with Microsoft to do that, but it is an option there. And then finally, moving up to the Office 365 enterprise subscriptions, this allows you up to 500,000 users and increases the storage per user to over 5 terabytes. You literally just have to ask for larger storage, and if you're using it, Microsoft will give it to you. And then you also have an option for Teams live events, which is if you're doing a worldwide web broadcast of a product launch or something like that, you can have a Teams-based stream going out that 10,000 attendees can connect to, and you can do things like have multiple cameras set up and cut to different cameras and bits like that. So it's just more detailed video sharing, basically. So we've covered off all the general hit points here. So I'd just like to ask if there's any questions that anybody has at the moment. On your little screen that you've got up there, you've got a chat box down the bottom right. If you've got any questions, please ask away. If you think of anything later on, just email me awarner@alchemysys.net, or if you've got any questions relating to sales, pricing, subscriptions, etc., please email rgregory@alchemysys.net, and Ryan will pick them up from there. So I'll just give everybody a minute just to see if anybody's got any questions at the moment. But as I said, if you've got anything that comes up later on, just let me know. Somebody has asked if they are using the desktop application, does it still open documents in the web browser? It will by default open up in Teams, but you can specify that you want it to open up in the full desktop application as default. In terms of making sure that everybody can edit the document together, depending on what version of Office is installed, if you're using an early version of Office 2013, it doesn't have some of the collaboration features built in. So to ensure that everybody has an opportunity to collaborate, the default that they've chosen is to use the web version that's built into Teams. Otherwise, it will lock the file. But as long as you've say got an Office 365 Business Premium or Enterprise subscription that has the full version of Office 365 that you can install on your computer, that version will definitely work, and you can get it to default to use that instead. If you have a nice fast internet connection, it is often quicker for the Teams web app to work than it is for you to click on a document, have Word load, and then it open up the document. It can be a little bit quicker just to do it in Teams. So any quick changes, if you're say just editing some cells in an Excel spreadsheet, it's often quicker to do it there. So I've had no more questions for the moment, but as I say, if anybody has any, please let me know. We've just had another question come in asking if they've already got document libraries set up in SharePoint, can we access them through Teams? Yes, you can. It's basically going back to the workspace customization aspect, as well as the files that are inside the team. You can just go and click the little plus cross and put in the web address for the document library that you have, and then they will appear as a tab that you can just click on, and it will appear the same way the files do in Teams. So exactly, you can add in stuff that you've already got and just use it as a front end. Because I know if you've got lots and lots of document libraries, it can be tricky for users to find what they need. So if you have, say, got a team that's focused on a specific part of the business, you can just give them the specific document libraries that they need just to narrow things down and speed things up. I think that's it for questions for the moment. But as I say, yet again, if you've got any questions, just email me at awarner@alchemysys.net, and I will pick them up from there. So thank you all for attending. This has been recorded and will be uploaded to our YouTube channel after a little bit of editing. And if you've got any questions, either for myself or for Ryan, please don't hesitate to contact us to get involved. Thank you.